Hey guys, so I wanted to take a moment on this Sunday night as we prep for the market opening tomorrow to talk about some news that you may have missed last week and one that released today that I definitely want to look at. And as usual, when I look at these news you may have missed, it always ties into when people ask, how do you find stocks? And this is just one of those ways. A lot of times when certain news come out, there will be other companies that could have some sort of reaction to this news, especially if it's big news, and all depending on what it is that it's talking about. And that is why I'm going to start with this one, OpenAI news. Now, we've been seeing OpenAI through the news probably these last 2 weeks with their partnership, where they have a partnership coming with Walmart, AMD, NVIDIA, AVGO, and a number of others that they are partnering with for AI projects, infrastructure, all of that. All right, so we are going to get started with this particular article that I found on Yahoo Finance. I want you guys to step outside of the big companies that are always just in our face and find some other stocks that you can kind of work with. Now let's go to the article. OpenAI will have to spend over $1 trillion to deliver its promised computing power. It may not have the cash. Now, that last part is not even the part I'm quite focused on. $100 trillion needed. Do I believe that OpenAI will get that money? Absolutely. Because a few years ago, Sam Altman was talking about wanting to have one of the biggest fundraisers in history. Now, this was long before these partnerships even hit. And he had this $1 trillion in mind years before he had these partnerships on the table. Well, possibly had them on the back end, I'm not sure. But before the news came out, and of course this. And so one of the things with OpenAI, if they were a public company, this stock will probably be skyrocketing right now. OpenAI will have to spend more than $1 trillion within the next 5 years to deliver the massive amount of computing power it has promised to deploy through partnerships with chip makers NVIDIA, Broadcom, Advanced Micro Devices, according to City analysts. Now, Broadcom is ABGO and Advanced Micro Devices AMD. Okay. OpenAI's latest deal with the three companies include an ambitious promise to deliver 26 gigawatts worth of computing capacity using their chips, which is nearly the amount of power required to provide electricity to the entire state of New York during peak summer demand. We're not even going to do a deep dive into that part, but this part is the part that led me to the other companies, okay? City estimates that it takes 50 billion in spending on computing hardware, energy infrastructure, and data center construction to bring 1 gigawatts of compute capacity online. Using that assumption, City analyst Chris Daly said in a note to clients this week that OpenAI's capital expenditures would hit 1.3 trillion by 2030. Now, the part that said that has kind of start ringing companies off in my head immediately is when they stated computing hardware, energy infrastructure, and data center construction. What about who's building them? Now, a few of these that I've heard of them, but some of the others, the most familiar ones were Jacob Solution, Quanta Service, and Flora Corporation. They are data center builders and they build hyperscale data centers for AI and a number of other solutions for people like Meta, Google, Oracle, and all of the biggest companies in the world. As companies are looking to build Oracle's 500 billion Stargate project that they have in partnership with OpenAI and others, you can look to these companies that are building these data centers for their stock to increase. Okay. And so you kind of take that news and you go and find others who could have some sort of reaction on the market to this exact news that we have here with OpenAI. Energy, Next Arrow, you got Duke, you have Constellation. A number of these companies will also probably see some reaction to this particular news. And so that little piece in that article led me to a number of other companies that we could be watching. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be this massive drive right now, but if we're looking at growth wise, the more money that's being pumped into AI, pumped into data centers, pumped into these intelligence projects, we know where else money will potentially be flowing to. It's computer hardware, Microsoft, For the company, Microsoft, Google, Salesforce, Snow. These were just a few, Palantir as well, Oracle. All of these companies popped up. I'm like, okay, computer, all of these companies that we can have that has the potential to grow and possibly skyrocket, grow nonetheless from this $1 trillion that could be pumped into AI and all of these things. That right there gave us a wide range of companies that we can look at. Now, this next one includes OpenAI again, but this one is I want you guys to keep Walmart on your radar. Now, I posted a trade plan for Walmart in my Skool community, and that thing was down for a little bit. Now, I was able to get out of 3 contracts with that thing up. Okay, cool. But those last two to draw down was a bit crazy. But the news that Walmart and OpenAI was partnering shot that thing up to about 107, and I finally closed out those last 2 contracts. Now, this article reads Walmart teams up with OpenAI to allow purchases directly in ChatGPT. And maybe they get everything but Apple Pay. So let's look at the article really quickly. Walmart said Tuesday it has struck a deal with OpenAI to allow shoppers to make faster purchases directly through artificial intelligence chat by ChatGPT. With the move, the retail giant's largest U.S. grocer is trying to keep up with the changes in how consumers discover items to buy, along with purchasing items they see on social media or products recommended by retailers. Shoppers are increasingly going to ChatGPT and similar AI chatbots for gift ideas to help finding the best deals. I mean, to be quite honest with you, all we want is Apple Pay. Do I see this as beneficial? Honestly, no. Quite honestly, I do not see this as a beneficial partnership, but where this thing may go, I have no idea. And how it could play out, it may have some benefits for Walmart somewhat, but at some point, I just don't really see it being a long-term thing where people are just going to Chat GPT looking for gift ideas and typing in when we could just literally do that on Google. Nevertheless, keep Walmart on your radar. But with this news, it did push this thing up to 107 from that 101, 102, and it finally pushed up. So keep Walmart on your radar. We may see a little bit of a pullback coming back down to some heavy support levels before the thing pushed back up a little bit more. But this news right here is what pushed it up. Finally, after that drawdown, when it got back to those low 100s, and it pushed back up finally. So yeah, do with that information what you will. This next one is on NVIDIA. It says Jensen Huang says NVIDIA went from 95% market share in China to zero. I can't imagine any policymaker thinking that that's a good idea. Now, definitely keep NVIDIA on your radar going into next week, okay? Here's the thing, when a lot of times you can see some reaction from something like this because 95% to 0% on NVIDIA, we already see how certain things move with this whole US and China tension that's happening, these trade wars, all of this bickering back and forth that we're seeing take place right now. That right there could definitely possibly push NVIDIA up that down. I'm curious to see how this thing is going to kind of play out in the pre-market, considering this article just came out today. And so around 5 o'clock. So I'm definitely interested to see how NVIDIA moves on this week and, of course, going to Monday opening. So a little further in it, it says trying to strike a balance between his goal of maintaining U.S. tech supremacy alone with access to China will require nuance rather than an all or nothing approach. But that's not the case now, as NVIDIA is 100% out of China. Now, do I believe that this is going to be a make or break it for NVIDIA? No. But do I think some sort of reaction is going to be seen on this? Yes. Make it or break it? No. Because, of course, the only thing that I'm looking at with NVIDIA is that they still rely on a few of the biggest tech companies that we have here in the United States, Amazon, Meta, Google, just to name a few. And so, even though they're being pushed 100% out of China, I don't see this as being a huge, huge deal, but we could see this thing come back down. And quite honestly, I hope it does because I'm trying to get it back down to my level that I'm watching at around 160, 165, and then possibly entering for some loans and riding that thing back up. But hey, That's just the levels I'm watching, and that's just what I'm hoping to see. But nonetheless, keep NVIDIA on your radar. And the last one is Meta, okay, and a few others that I want you guys to watch from this news. Meta expands AI ambitions with mega deals. Now, I don't think I made a video talking about this one, but Meta struck a multi-billion-dollar deal with CoreWeave, okay? So let's jump into the article really quickly. Meta platform is deepening its artificial intelligence ambition with a series of high-value deals and infrastructure investment. The high-profile move have kept Meta stock in focus among investors and analysts. For example, October 15th, Meta announced a $1.5 billion investment to build a new data center in El Paso, Texas to support growing AI workloads across its family of applications, including Facebook and Instagram. I'm down some. This announcement follows an even bigger $14 billion multi-year partnership with CoreWeave, an AI cloud provider. Now, CoreWeave and Meta both were up when this news took place. Now, I'm not sure if you're new to options. If you are, you're not risking a whole lot or don't have a quite big account. But these can be some expensive premiums here when you're really trying to play it, especially trying to play a long game with longer expiration. It's gonna take some cash, okay? But still, keep CoreWeave and Meta on your radar as this thing grow. And another one to add to Meta as well as CoreWeave is ARM Holding, okay? So in here, okay, in yet another strategic partnership, Meta announced a collaboration with ARM Holding to scale AI efficiency and enhance user experience worldwide, okay? And so with this one, it says ARMS could reduce Meta reliance on other chip suppliers as it leverages ARM's Neoverse server chips and open source tools. Okay, so just another one to keep on your radar. I did get into a trade with ARM when this news hit, and it was a damn good play. And just that. So continue to watch it as we see how their partnership continue to progress. So I did another video that I was going to talk about on this one, but when we were talking about the AI bubble, I did a full rundown on that in a separate video over here on my YouTube. And it was just basically saying that Wall Street is kind of starting to question this massive investment into artificial intelligence, and they are trying to see if this thing is a bubble that is getting ready to burst. Now, just like I said over in that video, do I believe AI is a bubble? I'm not saying that it's a bubble, but I do think some of the investments in certain parts of it is extremely unnecessary. I think that there are some necessary components to AI and some unnecessary components to it. But hey, we just kind of have to see how this thing plays out. Okay. And when it comes to looking at this massive bump into AI, quantum computing, chip makers, data centers, energy, everything that I kind of mentioned from this OpenAI article, it all ties into that as well. So you can go and check that video out. But those are just some things that I want you guys to kind of keep on your radar and some stocks to keep on your radar this week and just going forward. And with that, I will see you guys in the next one.